Good evening, guys. Getting set up here. And all right, first time ever. So, welcome everybody. Welcome in. I'm Alicia J. Speaks, the voice you know and love to hear. Uh, Hello to those of you on TikTok, and hello to all of my new subscribers here in YouTube. And we're certainly excited to be with you guys tonight. I am really glad. So you'll see me looking back and forth because I'm on more than one device and actually going live at the same time on different platforms. Super grateful, guys. So I do want to start off sharing, and of course, the algorithm on TikTok is sending out notifications for the people that are on, and the same here. Uh, and they're starting to come in the room at TikTok. And so it may take a little bit longer because I am newer on the YouTube. So if you guys have not already, please make sure that you subscribe. Let me try to fix this light for YouTube over here. So I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see, guys. So anyway, certainly excited. Hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. We are in for a treat. I am streaming live from both TikTok and YouTube tonight. You guys, on TikTok, if you haven't gone to YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe there. Alicia J Speaks. And we are going to get into some really wonderful topics and conversation that heals. I think that it's vitally important. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. It's vitally important that we actually have these conversations, and this conversation actually was prompted from talking and sharing uh, with a friend, and found out a few things, such as talking about um, different parts of ways to heal, guys. And so, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, let me know that it is your first time tuning in, and we will make sure that we do shout you out. And we're excited, you guys. It's been a while since we've jumped on, but you do want to stay tuned because we're going to be sharing some nuggets tonight and information, definitely news that you can use. So many times we talk about so many different things, but we don't always talk about things that are something that we could use, right? So tonight I want to be sharing that with you. First, let me give you a quick update, guys. Listen, we are super excited, and we got a chance to see the Alvin Ailey Theater and the dancers, and that was absolutely wonderful. So we're coming, got invited by a friend, and so we are excited. She invited me out, and so I was able to go and experience. What a wonderful, if you've never, guys, if you've never experienced going to Alvin Ailey dancers, it is such a wonderful treat. And just if you do enjoy things like that, and maybe you don't know if you enjoyed it because you've never been, but I would encourage you, find out what city they're going to be in and make sure that you get your tickets and go. It was completely packed out. Wonderful, wonderful experience. So I do want to talk about now. I've got both. Welcome in, guys, as you're coming in. Listen, I have both the YouTube live as well as TikTok tonight. We'll eventually add an Instagram, but we've been discussing some things that we think are vitally important. And with it being so late at night, there are so many people that deal with these issues. And so tonight, I want to talk to you about a very serious subject, and that is one of suffering in silence. And I don't know about you, those of you as you're coming in the room, you could just share out the page and then a tap and like and whatever. That gets that algorithm going. And we appreciate all of you stopping in. Listen, I don't know if you've heard of the term suffering in silence, okay? Now, reason why I want to talk about that is because it's so crucial that if a person has experienced grief of any kind, if you've ever gone through grief of losing someone, losing a job, losing the way that things used to be, what happens is that can cause people to get stuck in a place of trying to figure out what happened. How did I lose momentum? How did I lose where I'm at? And that position or whatever you used to have. Now, guys, this can actually have to do with a job. It could have to do with life. It could be a loved one. It could have been a relationship. But when there is a loss or a sudden change, and you were used to things being a certain way, it can cause a level of grief. And a lot of times, sometimes people suffer, but they're embarrassed by that. They're embarrassed by the fact that they are suffering. They're embarrassed by their go through. They're embarrassed by that because they don't want people to know. Don't want people to know that they're going through something. And so, therefore, it tends to cause people to suffer in silence. And I want to really unpack that tonight. And I want to talk about it because it's a very serious subject. And a couple of coworkers and myself, we were discussing the importance of being able to share openly when you are experiencing emotional issues, when you're experiencing um, different things, such as losses, and you're dealing with all these emotions. What do you do, guys, when you have all these emotions and you don't know what to do with them? What is it that you do? And that is the important part to find out. When you are dealing with certain emotions, you definitely don't want to allow yourself to get pulled away and locked into those emotions by yourself. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because I'm a person that actually walked through it and didn't realize that it was happening to me. So it's one thing to go through something and then know that it's happening to you. Welcome, you guys on YouTube. I actually have TikTok pulled up as well. Very thirsty, guys. But I really want to talk to you concerning that because during that time, I did allow myself to um, begin to fall into the grief stage. And I was suffering in silence. And what that meant was I was going through all the motions of everything else, but I didn't have an outlet or anyone that I was sharing how I really was feeling. So, therefore, that's when you're suffering and going through something, not sure why you're feeling depressed or anxiety, why you're feeling those emotions. Um, and maybe you think that it's been a long time. Maybe you think that you should have already gotten over it or healed. Sometime things happen to us in our lives that can cause a soul wound, right? You guys, when there is a wound to the soul, what is the soul? Your mind, your will, your emotions. When you are affected in those areas, that can stagnate you. It can alter how you function. It can alter how it interact with other people. It can alter how you function in your business, in ministry, in your daily life. Literally, when something happens to you and it affects those emotions, there's now a need for a healing in your soul. Now, guys, I had to really dive into that and I had to really unpack that and see, because I didn't understand that I had a wounded soul. The first time someone told me that was a few years back. And of course, I had gone through things in healing. But when your soul is wounded, what is the soul? Your mind, your will, your emotions. When something takes place that hurts you, that betrays you, that's a big one. Especially for me, it was a big one. Hurt, betrayal, disappointment, all of those things can cause wounds to the soul. And you can be walking around with a wounded soul, your emotions. You know, you've heard people say, I felt some kind of way when they did it. um, or they choose not to ever talk to the person again, or they choose not to ever deal with the person, or even if the person has apologized, but there's something that's in your heart that you're carrying that you just can't let that go. That's a wound to the soul. Or when things happen that remind you of something that you've experienced, that's a wound to your soul. You're carrying that in your soul. Now, and when that happens, there's a need to be healed. There's a need to be healed, guys. Um, Grief is a very real thing. Wounded soul is a very real thing. You can you can have a soul wound from things that you've experienced. And you can carry that even if you've said, now listen to me closely, even if you said, oh, I'm just going to move on with my life. I just forgot about it. I just don't deal with them anymore. Okay. All of those words are good. Okay. That's good. But what's happening if you hear that person's name? What type of emotions and feelings come over you? Does your teapot boil, kettle? Do you immediately feel like a rush of heat throughout your body, like of anger, of bitterness, um, of resentment? Okay. We have to test the meter. We really have to test the meter. And this is what I've learned, guys. If you cannot be real, you cannot be healed. And what does that look like? What does being real really look like? It means not hiding the fact that you were hurt and it scarred you in a way. So much so that it caused you not to trust not only that person, but then it's caused you to kind of categorize everybody into that same category if anything happens and it reminds you of that pain place. Why do we want to deal with that? Because if you do not get healed in an area, that's going to affect you throughout. And so, you guys, go ahead and get the keys. The important thing is that we simply just do what we need to do to get healed. And it's not always that easy. You know why? Because it means being transparent or vulnerable. I'm putting this on because I gotta go make a run. All right. So I was telling you guys, I'll be back to you guys a little bit later. I'm going to end the live stream over on YouTube. I'm going to sign out on YouTube there. And